The anime starts by showing our main character Tuka Mimori's childhood. His stepfather used to beat him, and his mother never tried to stop it. Cut to the present. On a school bus, Oyamata is bullying the class president Sogo for reading a romance novel. No one stands up for her. Mimori explains they're heading for a school field trip, and the stronger students are laughing at Sogu. The teacher doesn't intervene. Mimori thinks to himself, if I step in, maybe I'll look cool. But someone like me, thin and weak, what could I even do? Still, Mimori decides to act. He tells Oyamata to stop harassing Sogu. Oyamata laughs and mocks him, but then Kirihara also steps in and tells Oyamata to stop. Oyamata is confused and asks Kirihara if he is on Tuka's side. Kirihara replies that he has no interest in Mimori, but this is going too far. Oyamata returns the book and shifts his attention to Yasu, another student, who gets scared. Suddenly, all the students are teleported to another world. A woman introduces herself as Goddess Vicious and welcomes them, calling them brave fighters summoned to help fight the resurrected Demon Emperor. 200 years ago, heroes defeated the Demon Emperor, but now he has returned. Vicious asks for their help. The students are shocked and confused. Kirihara asks, what if we refuse to fight? Vicious answers that they can't return to their original world unless they gather a magical item called the Evil Element, which can only be obtained in two ways, either from the heart of the Demon Emperor or after his death, when the element is absorbed into a crystal. Oyamata protests, saying, what does this have to do with us? Why should we fight? Vicious begs them to save her world, calling them messiahs. Sogu says, we're just humans. I don't think any of us can help you. Vicious reassures them that they have powers no ordinary humans possess. To demonstrate the seriousness of their world, Vicious has soldiers feed a man to a monster. After the monster devours him, she burns it with her magic, shocking the students. Then Vicious begins the process of revealing each student's hidden abilities. One by one, they place their hands on a crystal and receive their rankings. Oyamata gets an A rank. Kirihara and Sogu both get S ranks. Others also receive decent ranks. But when it's Mimori's turn, he is found to have extremely low stats and is given an E rank, lowest of all. Vicious ignores him completely. Mimori sadly thinks, so even in another world, I'm going to be ignored. Then Yasu steps up and shockingly, the crystal turns black. Vicious reveals this has only happened once before, when the legendary Dark Hero appeared. Everyone starts checking their stats. Mimori learns that he only has two basic skills, paralysis and poison, both level 1. Vicious explains that inherent skills are unique to each individual, though some people might awaken them later. Oyamata, annoyed, tells her to stop with the explanations. The teacher tries to silence him, but Oyamata mocks him too. Vicious then calls Mimori forward. Guards push him down, and Vicious declares that heroes with the lowest ranks have always brought trouble. So, they've decided such heroes must be disposed of. But instead of killing Mimori directly, they offer him a chance. He will be sent into a dungeon known as Abandoned Ruin. If he survives and returns, they won't trouble him again. This dungeon, however, is so dangerous that even deadly criminals and powerful warriors are exiled there. Mimori tries to defend himself, saying he was summoned without consent, and now they want to kill him, but no one listens. Yasu walks up to Mimori, and for a moment, Mimori thinks he's come to help, since Mimori had once helped him back at school, but Yasu mocks him and walks away. Vicious hands Mimori a leather pouch and begins the ritual. Sogu tries to stop it, but Vicious knocks her unconscious, angry. Mimori lashes out with magic, but Vicious's barrier blocks his attack. Everyone tells Mimori to just disappear. Crying, Mimori hears a voice within, his inner self, telling him to stop pretending to be good, to stop hiding who he truly is, that he hates all of them. Mimori finally snaps and says, "Go to hell, goddess. If I make it out of there alive, I won't spare any of you." He is then teleported into the abyss. Using the pouch, he creates some light and sees piles of bones everywhere. A monster suddenly attacks. Mimori runs, terrified. The creature is much stronger than him. He wants to cry but realizes the feeling isn't fear, it's frustration. Even with no weapon, weak stats, and a useless skill, Mimori refuses to give up. He uses paralysis, and it actually works. The monster freezes in place. Mimori is shocked. Vicious had said his skill was useless, but it clearly works. A second monster attacks. Again, he uses paralysis, and again, It works. This isn't a miracle, he says. Maybe my skill is different from the rest in this world, but his magic power is depleted. He then tries using poison, wondering if he can use it right after paralysis. Another monster shows up, no longer affected by the status effect. Mimori thinks, so it wore off, and now it's going to kill me. Is no one coming to save me? His inner voice returns. You're no hero, just a background character no one will save. So don't expect anything from anyone. Mimori replies, then I'll kill to survive. He attempts to use Paralyze, but fails. The skill doesn't work twice on the same target. Panic sets in, until he notices another skill, Sleep. He activates it, successfully knocking the monster unconscious. Immediately, he follows up with Poison. Mimori realizes something important. I can't use the same skill twice on a target, but I can use different ones in succession. More monsters appear, dozens of them. Mimori is surrounded. He starts paralyzing them one by one, but every use of magic drains his strength. His body starts to fail him. I can't stop. I won't stop. I'll keep fighting even if my body breaks. And then it happens. A sudden level up. His magic returns. His stats begin to soar. Energized, he resumes the battle. Paralyze, poison, sleep, repeating the cycle. Each monster defeated grants him more experience. The more he fights, the more powerful he becomes. So leveling up is tied to kills. If I keep going, I can get stronger. Strong enough to escape. Strong enough for revenge. As he continues battling, Mimori's skills evolve. His Paralyze now affects multiple targets. His poison grows more potent. Even his sleep becomes deadlier. Eventually, his level skyrockets to 258. His magical power becomes unmatched. But with power comes danger. He begins to question, if my inherent skills are fueled by magic and I run out, will I die? Suddenly, every poisoned enemy starts dropping dead. His level jump. Later, he continues using monsters to upgrade his sleep skill too. But eventually, the monsters begin fleeing from him, terrified of his presence. Left alone, Mimori loots the corpses. He prays for the fallen. I need food and water or I won't survive. But no food is found. Only monsters remain. In desperation, he returns to the monster corpses to try and eat them. He tears out an eyeball, only to realize they're made of acid and inedible. That's when he notices something strange. His crystal bag begins glowing purple. As it charges with his magic, it changes color and reveals hidden supplies, food and water. I don't know how this works, but it saved me. Days pass. Mimori slaughters more and more monsters. His power continues to rise. He begins to witness horrifying scenes, massacres of monsters he himself caused. This looks like a mass murder site. I did this. This is no longer kindness. I've become something else. We flash back to his past. He once cried after striking his abusive stepfather. His uncle and aunt gave him a new life, taught him kindness, taught him humanity. But now he feels nothing after killing. I used to want to understand pain. Now I don't feel it. That scares me. His level, now 957. Deeper into the dungeon, he finds a sealed room. Using his magic, he opens it, only to find two skeletons, long dead from starvation. He mourns them, prays for them, and takes their belongings. In another room, he finds a letter. It belonged to the former dark hero, Anglin. He too was discarded by the same goddess who summoned Mimori. So, even the goddess is evil. He finds a book on forbidden arts, spells and tools too dangerous for common use. He can't read it yet, but he vows to learn. If this book was brought by the dark hero, it must be important. Maybe I can use it to defeat the goddess. He also finds a note warning. Beware of the Soul Eater. Eventually, he reaches a mysterious door, one that won't open without a special item. That's when he encounters a stone face in the wall with a glowing crystal on its forehead. This must be the Soul Eater. He attacks with Paralyze, but it backfires. The Soul Eater fights back, injuring Mimori. I need that crystal to escape, but if I get close, she'll kill me. He remembers. He must shout the skill name to activate it, and he must be within range. But she's too powerful. Suddenly, the Soul Eater emerges from the wall. Mimori realizes. She starts summoning the dead, reanimated corpses of previous victims. She's using the dead for entertainment. What sick taste. But Mimori refuses to attack the dead. I can't poison humans, even if they're half dead. I'm not that low. The Soul Eater laughs and summons more corpses. Mimori is overwhelmed, screaming at them to stay away. She's enjoying this. This is fun for her. In her amusement, she drops her guard. That's when Mimori makes his move. He paralyzes everyone, including her. Didn't notice my left hand, did you? You thought I'd given up, but I was just waiting. I've hidden who I really am for too long. I'm not some background character. I'm not a hero. I'm a survivor. Anyone who comes to kill me, I will kill. With resolve, he finally unleashes his poison skill on all of them. The Soul Eater begins to suffer internal damage from the combination of paralyze and poison. Mimori then puts them all to sleep. One by one, they die, and his level jumps again. The freed souls thank Mimori for releasing them. Even the spirit of the dark hero urges him, defeat the goddess, and Mimori, now hardened and resolved, simply says, I'm not obligated to do this, but don't worry, I'll make her pay, no matter how long it takes. He walks through the door. If till now you like my content, please like and subscribe. Meanwhile, his classmates are seen trying to gain experience by hunting various monsters. But Kashima is unable to kill even a single one. Asagi advises her to kill one and comments that their class will soon split apart because it's full of selfish people, all divided by ranks. She herself is a B ranker and believes everyone will eventually stick to their own rank. Since Kashima is a D ranker, she won't be accepted in Kirihara's group, and the Takao sisters prefer working alone. Even Sogu, she says, might die soon. So Asagi advises Kashima to understand her situation. Asagi tells her that when they defeat the Great Demon Emperor and return home, her current position will impact her standing even back there. Asagi asks her to join their group in exchange for help in passing her test. Since Kashima hasn't killed even her first monster yet, they bring one to her and tell her to kill it, or face the same fate as Mimori. Tearfully, Kashima kills the monster and apologizes in her heart to Mimori for not being able to help him. Meanwhile, Sogu regains consciousness and goes to speak with the goddess. The goddess says what happened to Mimori was unfortunate, but it's all part of their kingdom's ritual. It's not the time to be sad, as the ritual is still ongoing. Everyone is being tested to see if they can kill demons or not. Those who fail will be disqualified and disposed of, just like Mimori. Sogu doesn't agree with the goddess's methods and proposes a deal as an S-rank hero. She promises to fulfill her duties in exchange for sparing those who can't kill demons. The goddess agrees, and they shake hands. Meanwhile, a girl is seen running away, hiding from a group of 4 people who are hunting her. Elsewhere, Mimori examines his status and realizes he can now customize his paralysis and poison skills. Wanting to test this, he searches for demons. He comes across a group of slimes bullying a smaller slime. Just then, the small slime fights back, pushing them away. Mimori paralyzes all the slime, activates his poison skill on the others. Then he uses his new optional skill to cancel the effects, demonstrating he now has control over turning skills off. The poisoned slimes flee in fear. Mimori reassures the little slime he won't harm it and praises its bravery. He removes the skill from it and starts walking away. The little slime begins following him, so Mimori decides to take it along. Meanwhile, the girl is still on the run and senses her pursuers are waiting for her to tire her out. The little slime climbs onto Mimori's back, and Mimori tells it to keep watch from behind. Later, he reads about a forbidden potion that can strengthen demons. Thinking he can use it to empower the slime, Mimori warns it that he's about to do something dangerous in his quest for revenge, and asks if it's willing to join him. The slime glows green in response. Mimori names it Pigimaru, and the slime is delighted. Determined to defeat the goddess, Mimori continues forward. Meanwhile, the girl decides to confront her attackers. But those 4 mistakenly cross paths with Mimori and try to threaten him. Mimori acts scared and pretends to comply as they demand his valuables. One of them urges the others to hurry, as they still need to catch the girl. While they argue, Mimori slowly backs away, but one of them tries to stop him. When attacked, Mimori paralyzes the attacker, realizing his skills now work on humans too. Apparently the goddess is a special case. Mimori declares that although they're less dangerous than dungeon monsters, they're just as evil, so he won't feel bad killing them. He then poisons and eliminates all of them. Suddenly, Mimori senses the girl's presence, and she too feels someone else nearby besides those 4. Mimori uses Pigimaru to distract her and paralyzes her as well. He says he sensed killing intent from her but didn't find her evil, so he decided to talk. The girl asks what he wants. Mimori explains he isn't from this world and knows nothing about it, so he asks for information. He also inquires about the 4 attackers, if they were her companions. She denies it. Mimori releases her mouth from the spell, but not her full body, as he still doesn't trust her completely. The girl asks what happened to the 4 men. Mimori says he killed them. She then asks if he fought them alone, and when he says yes, she believes him, sensing no lie in his words. Grateful that he saved her life, she offers to answer his questions honestly. Mimori says she doesn't seem like a bad person, but they should avoid getting too involved in each other's lives. He asks where they are, and she tells him it's the southern forest of the Uzura kingdom. Mimori then shows her an old letter and asks if she can read it. She can't, but she knows someone who might. A person known as the Forbidden Witch, who is exiled. To meet her, Mimori will have to enter the Golden Demon Zone, a highly dangerous area in the middle of the continent. Feeling their debt settled, Mimori tells her he'll leave now. The girl agrees, noting he reminds her of her kind-hearted aunt, whom she always worried about for being too gentle. Mimori warns her she'll be freed soon, but he can't guarantee her safety once unbound. He wishes her luck and walks away. Bigimaru calls out to him, and Mimori says he doesn't enjoy killing, but he does it as needed. It is then revealed that the girl Mimori captured is actually a holy knight of the Nia kingdom and a former princess named Sarah Sashrain. Now, Mimori is searching, and eventually he arrives at a place called Mills City. To stay unnoticed, he checks into an inn under a fake name. Later that evening, while exploring the city, Mimori reflects on how the people there don't stare at strangers and how peaceful the place is. He notices all kinds of unique shops and decides to eat at a restaurant. He particularly enjoys places like this because once people get drunk, they talk loudly, making it easy to gather information. Nearby, some adventurers are discussing which knight group is the strongest. One of them claims that the strongest is the Black Dragon Knights, known for destroying the Holy Kingdom of Nia. It's said that their 5 dragon knights are as powerful as an entire army, and among them is the strongest human alive, and a hero killer. Back in his room, Mimori reflects on his next steps. First, he needs to find someone who can read the Book of Forbidden Spells, which means visiting the Golden Demon Zone to meet the Forbidden Witch. Second, to enhance Bigimaru's power, he needs to craft a strengthening potion, which requires a bone from the Skeleton King, rumored to be deep within the ruins near Mills. The next day, a man named Creed Hercule, also known as the Marquis of Mills, announces that a new lair has been discovered within the ruins. He invites adventurers to find the Cup of the Dragon's Eye, offering a reward of 300 gold coins, plus the right to keep any other materials they find. Mimori realizes this means he can legally keep the bone he's after. As registration begins, a cloaked woman is approached by a man who flirts with her, convinced she's the wanted woman Sarah Sashrain. Despite her denying it, he continues pestering her, insisting he's met her before and trying to expose her by removing her cloak. But when her ears don't resemble those of an elf, the crowd turns on the man, and he leaves, embarrassed. Mimori watches from afar and realizes this is the same girl he met in the forest. Later, Mimori prepares to head into the ruins and meet Saras again. He warns Saras about the man from earlier, who seems vengeful and dangerous. She also shares how people tend to dislike her and keep their distance, perhaps because they sense her isolation. Mimori offers her silver coins in exchange for guidance on preparing for the ruins. They both share fake names, knowingly, after buying the required stuff for exploration. And Saras accepts the money, grateful but surprised at his generosity for giving her more money than she expected. Suddenly, Saras collapses from exhaustion, but insists she'll be fine. Mimori watches her leave. Inside the ruins, Mimori effortlessly defeats a monster using his poison and paralysis spells. He notes how effective his magic is here. Unlike in the danger zones, a group of adventurers soon return and are shocked to find the powerful monster already dead. Mimori continues deeper and observes a group secretly plotting revenge against Sares. The same man she humiliated now plans to feed her to demons to get back at her. Mimori overhears them, and though they try to attack him, he paralyzes and poisons them without hesitation. As the demons approach, Mimori walks away calmly, letting the monsters finish them off. Eventually, he reaches the second last layer and takes a break before moving to the final floor. On his way, he meets a group of adventurers discussing how demons are dying in strange ways, strong or weak, all the same. One girl, Lily, worries for her comrades and decides to retreat. She invites Mimori to join them, but he declines. After they leave, Mimori admits he's the one who killed the demons, and it's better that fewer people enter this place now. Finally, Mimori finds the cup of the dragon's eye, but nearby stands a suspicious statue. Fearing it might awaken when he takes the cup, Mimori preemptively poisons it. His hunch was correct. The statue was a hidden dragon guardian, and it dies from the poison without a fight. Just then, Seiras arrives and is surprised to find someone else reach the cup before her. Mimori hands her the cup, saying he doesn't need it. She hesitates, knowing it's worth 300 gold coins and doesn't want to take it for free. But Mimori says he's here for a different purpose. He wants to meet a certain demon further below. Seiras decides to accompany him, offering to be bodyguard for Mimori in return. But Mimori sets two conditions. She must not ask him personal questions, and she must take responsibility for her own safety. Seiras agrees, vowing to protect him even at the cost of her life. As they journey deeper, Seiras slices a monster in half with a single blow. Impressed, Mimori praises her and starts asking about the golden-eyed demons. She explains that these demons hold massive amounts of experience points, which is why heroes from other worlds hunt them to level up. However, heroes can't gain HP by killing humans, and Mimori reflects on this, realizing he has no reason to kill heroes. Seiras also explains that while regular demons can be friendly toward humans, the golden-eyed ones were corrupted by a magical element released long ago by the great demon emperor, making them highly dangerous. Mimori wonders. These golden-eyed demons remind him too much of the golden heroes. Later, they rest in a room. Seiras senses a weak monster outside. Mimori then introduces her to Pigemaru and tells her to sleep while he takes watch. As she sleeps, he realized that she is the former leader of Holy Kingdom Nia's Knights, Seiras Ashrin, as till now she was using a fake name. Elsewhere, the Black Dragon Knights are on the move. They find the bodies of the 4 men Mimori killed and assume Seiras is the one who did it. One of them, Civet Garland, who is the strongest, smirks and says, "Ceres is truly amazing, but I wonder, can she beat me?" Seiras regains consciousness, and they both begin searching for the Skeleton King. Mimori hears something from a room, so both he and Seiras step back. Suddenly, the Skeleton King emerges. Seiras notices a bone beneath its crest and guesses that breaking it might be the key to defeating him. She also remarks that the Skeleton King is way too powerful. Even a saber-toothed tiger would struggle against him. Seiras requests to use a special ability that will form an armor around her and boost her physical strength. She asks Mimori to keep this ability a secret and not to tell anyone what happens here. She also apologizes in advance, saying she may not be able to protect him. If things go south, he should escape. The Skeleton King begins his attack, but Mimori paralyzes and poisons him. Mimori realizes this king is only strong by this dungeon standards. The enemies he's faced before were far more terrifying. Seiras is shocked by his strength, and Mimori finds the bone that weakens the Skeleton King. Mimori realizes that Seiras is confused, so he promises to answer some of her questions once they return to the surface. As they prepare to leave, Pigemaru signals Mimori toward something. Mimori finds an egg, and Pigemaru asks him to take it along. Mimori agrees. Meanwhile, Mimori's classmates are fighting monsters in another dungeon to level up. One girl's arm gets cut, and Sogu hesitates to fight. Then Oyamada and Kirihara blast the monster with their magic, putting even their allies at risk. But Sogu saves them. Kirihara boasts he's now stronger than these demons and has reached level 24. Back in town, Seiras reveals the cup of the Dragon Eye in front of everyone, shocking them. Later, she tells Mimori that she'll receive her payment by morning, so she's staying the night. Since Seiras is free till tomorrow, Mimori asks if they can talk privately. Seiras agrees. That night, Mimori is making a strengthening potion for Pigemaru when Seiras shows up. After some talk, she asks if he wants to hire her as an escort. Mimori agrees, thinking she might need more money even after selling the cup. He admits that his goal is to meet the Forbidden Witch, for which he must pass through the Golden Demon Zone, a dangerous place filled with demons. He says he thought about hiring a knight, but after seeing Seiras in battle, he believes she's perfect for the job. Mimori tells her not to rush the decision, but then Mimori calls her by her real name. Surprised, she asks how he knows. Mimori reveals that he knew her identity all along and that she fainted in the dungeon because of one of his skills. He tells her that keeping her identity hidden on a journey with Mimori will only bring her trouble. He reassures her that he won't tell anyone her secret because she's important to him. Seras explains she uses spirit power to conceal her true form, and if she falls asleep, it's revealed. The White Wolves were after her because they saw her real form. But now that the four are dead, her journey will be easier. She transforms into her real self to show her trust in Mimori. Since they've both shared their real names, Seras Ashrain and Tuka Mimori, they agree to keep each other's identities secret. Seras formally accepts the escort role, and Mimori pays her with a blue dragon stone. She's shocked, saying it's far more valuable than the Cup of the Dragon Eye and not even in market circulation anymore. Mimori insists she keep it. She finally accepts. Later, they're having breakfast together, and some people comment on Seras. Mimori tells her to ignore them and asks about the forbidden spells. Seras explains these are the same spells that the goddess Vicious has forbidden. Mimori thinks these might be the spells powerful enough to threaten the gods themselves. Seras leaves to collect her reward, while Mimori decided to wait for Seras as they plan to go into the forest to test the strength potion on Pigimaru. Meanwhile, at a party, a magician is summoned by the king to check the cup's purity. Seeing the magician makes Seras uneasy, while Mimori is still waiting for Seras, but she doesn't return at the expected time. He wonders if he misjudged her or if she's in trouble. He asks Pigimaru to jump once if she's in danger, and Pigimaru jumps once. So they both set off to find her. Mimori learns that Seras's identity has been exposed, and she's fled into the dark forest. Soon, Black Dragon Knights are sent to capture her. As they find her and begin their assault, Seras takes down one of the dragons with her powers. The other two attack, and she defeats them too. However, she can't transform because the light spirit is confused due to her illusion being broken. Then a new threat appears, one far more dangerous. Seras identifies the person controlling the dragons. His name is Gizun, one of the 5 dragon knights under Master Oben. He announces he has orders to kill her. Seras fights back but is forced into a corner and Gijen disarms her. At the last moment, Mimori arrives. He paralyzes Gizun and the dragon. Seras asks what he's doing here. Mimori says she didn't return on time, so he came looking for her. Seras warns him that if he stays with her, he'll be hunted too, and returns the blue dragon stone as payment. Mimori says she's the best escort he could ask for and tells her to keep the stone. Then, seriously, he tells her, "Now take off your clothes." Mimori is not like these other men. He asked Seras to take off her clothes, as he wants to change her disguise to hide Seras's identity. Mimori then suggests they go to the Golden Demon Zone and seek help from the Forbidden Witch. Seras questions why he's helping her so much. Mimori replies that she reminds him of his aunt, and he can't abandon someone like that. And Mimori then removes the sleep spell from Gizun, saying that if he answers truthfully, he'll let him live. Gizun warns him against messing with the Black Dragon Knights and says someone powerful is targeting Seras. Just as he's about to say who, he is killed, and the Black Dragon Knights arrive. Mimori senses they're out of his range and feels the immense threat Black Dragon Knight poses. One of them, Civet, introduces himself as the strongest human alive and a member of the 5 Dragon Knights. Mimori wonders where the 5th member is, and Civet says he already killed him as he is none other than Gizun. There's tension even among the knights, and they discuss whether they really had to kill Gizun. A flashback shows King Tora asking the Forbidden King for the strongest person from his land. Tora has dreams about this and feels uneasy. He confesses he wants Seras gone, even dead, as he can't stand seeing another man claiming her. That's when Seras realizes that King Tora sent assassins after her. Civet then debate about Seras's fate. While some want to kill her immediately, others remind them that the Holy King wants her corpse intact. Civet offers her a deal: fight him in a one-on-one match, and if she wins, she'll live. Unexpectedly, Civet shifts his attention to Mimori, finding him more interesting. He asks Mimori who he really is. Civet, being highly observant, knows Mimori is planning something and is cautious not to give him an opening. Mimori then plays a bold card. He reveals his real name, Tuka Mimori, and announces that he is a hero summoned from another world. This shocks everyone. Civet, intrigued, says he finally understands the strange feeling he got from Mimori. Mimori explains that unlike other heroes, he was given freedom by the goddess and works alone. He asks Sivit to postpone their fight until he becomes stronger. Mimori declares that he'll become powerful enough to make even the goddess irrelevant. Sivit agrees to let him go, impressed by his spirit. Mimori also convinces him not to kill Saras, saying he needs her to gain strength. Reluctantly, the knights agree. They plan to kill Saras later, after Mimori and Sivit fight. As they leave, Mimori thinks to himself that he's finally got them within his range. He activates a paralyze spell on them. Sivit realizes it, but it's too late. Mimori apologizes, saying he doesn't have time to evolve with people like them. This isn't a hero's tale, but a story of revenge. He activates a poison spell, and the knights start dying. But Sivit tries to move even while poisoned and paralyzed, proving why he's called humanity's strongest. He tries to attack, but collapses under the poison. Then reinforcements arrive. Mimori tells Saras that she can run if she wants, but she insists on staying. After all, she's his escort. She does ask to keep the blue dragon stones in return. As the enemies prepare long-range attacks, Mimori uses a new ability powered by a demon-transferring potion, with help from Pigimaru. This power has limitations. It takes time to activate and quickly drains his magic. Using tentacles from his new skill, he paralyzes and defeats the enemies from a distance. His skill levels up, giving him 3 new powers. He uses Berserk to kill faster and Darkness to blind an enemy. As the Dragon Knights fall, Mimori continues leveling up. Sivit still refuses to die easily, but Mimori eventually kills him, declaring that he's not here to save the world. He's here for revenge. With Sivit's death, no one can now leak information about Saras. She thanks him, but Mimori says he should be the one thanking her. Saras says she stayed because if Mimori died, she wouldn't survive either. But now, another threat looms. The hero killer. Someone said to be even stronger than Sivit. But Mimori claims he already took care of the hero killer easily, leaving Saras stunned. Meanwhile, Mimori's classmates are still waiting outside the ancient ruins, trying to level up. Sogu worries she hasn't activated her unique skill yet. Suddenly, a new woman appears, claiming to be sent by Goddess Vicious as her substitute. When Oyamada doubts her strength, she knocks him out effortlessly. Sogu is shocked at her speed and power. Clearly, she is not someone to be taken lightly. Meanwhile, outside the abandoned ruins, some soldiers are searching for clues. But all they find is a pendant. One soldier suggests reporting it back to Alien Kingdom, but another says nothing unusual happened here, and they are sure that no one can leave the abandoned ruin. Elsewhere, Mimori is browsing for a mask. The shopkeeper tells him he's interested in the mask of the Flying King, a king of the demonic race who once built an island for his people. He fought those who invaded it, but was later exiled, accused of turning away from evil, and his followers were all killed. Saras thinks to herself, if I follow my heart now, I'll become an obstacle in Mimori's path. So for now, I'll just be his sword. Mimori looks at the mask and thinks, I'm no hero right now. Devil suits me better. Goddess, one day I'll defeat you. You can't ignore a man who has given his soul to the devil. Meanwhile, in the Magnar Kingdom, a council meeting is underway. King Sigmas of Magnar says it's hard to believe the 5 Dragon Knights are dead. King Jin of Urza confirms it after seeing their bodies. The goddess adds that the Black Dragon Knight was seen chasing Saras. Alma questions if they can even track Saras, the former leader of the Holy Knights. Jin reveals they found blood-stained clothes at the site of the battle, possibly Saras's. From the amount of blood, it's likely she died. He also says that Nia's king died last night, reportedly losing his sanity before death. Sigmas scoffs, saying he doesn't want to hear about cowardly kings who surrender their kingdoms before a fight. The goddess shifts the conversation. Now that the Black Knights are gone, their plan against the great demon emperor is severely weakened, increasing the importance of heroes summoned from another world. The king of Mara says this benefits the Alien Kingdom. The goddess agrees. When the demon emperor arrives, everyone will beg for Alien's help. The evil element still affects everyone, reducing their power, and unless they break that curse, nothing will change. Sigmas asks if they really believe Saras killed the 5 Dragon Knights. Suddenly, a soldier brings him news. A group has claimed responsibility for defeating Black Knights. They are called a Shinto, group of sorcerers currently in Urza. Meanwhile, Saras and Mimori head north toward the Golden Demon Zone. They stop at a place called Colosseum, a battleground where slaves and mercenaries known as blood fighters fight to the death. Winners are paid, and the arena is run by the Duke of Garza and a mercenary. It's now wildly popular, though it was once a place for mercenary groups to scout warriors. Mimori and Saras rent a room and head to a restaurant to gather information. People there are talking about the deaths of the 5 Dragon Knights, some blaming Saras, while others accuse the Shinto group. Mimori asks Saras about them. She explains the Ashino group is gaining fame and is rumored to worship a cursed god. Then members of the Ashino group enter. Mimori thinks, they don't seem dangerous, but if they want to take credit for the murders, that works in our favor. People begin discussing who could actually kill the 5 Dragon Knights. Names like Dragon Killer, Leo Parkin, and even the Forbidden Witch come up. She's a dark elf who hasn't been seen in 10 years, though someone claims to have spotted her. Mimori approaches that person, buys them food and drinks, and they agree to share information. They say he can ask someone who's seen the Forbidden Witch directly, pointing to a powerful blood fighter who just entered. Eve Speed, the strongest fighter in the arena. Mimori introduces himself to her. Eve says, "You don't look like someone interested in fighting me. So why are you really here?" Mimori admits he's looking for the Forbidden Witch, claiming he's a scholar gathering information. She tells him she did enter the Golden Demon Zone but never met the witch, so she doesn't know where she is. Afterward, Saras, who overheard everything, tells Mimori that Eve lied. That means she does know the witch's location. Later in their room, Mimori forgets Pigimaru's food. He uses a special bag gifted by the goddess to pull out a cheesecake. Both Saras and Pigimaru are overjoyed. Saras asks if such food is common in his world. Mimori replies yes, but he can't summon it on his own will. Saras stares at the cheesecake packet, finding it beautiful. Mimori, in turn, finds Saras beautiful. They begin discussing their plans to find the Forbidden Witch. Mimori says if only they could talk to Eve again. Saras believes blood fighters value money the most. It's how they buy their freedom. Meanwhile, Eve is seen meeting a little girl, promising to free her soon. Mimori watches Saras training and thinks her swordsmanship is truly magical. She begins teaching him close combat moves, sharing that this is how she trained holy knights. She tells Mimori to attack her. When he does, she easily restrains him with joint locks, teaching him effective defense techniques. In that moment, Saras realizes they're touching and quickly steps back, apologizing. Mimori asks if she's uncomfortable with physical touch. She admits, so Mimori asks Saras to teach him just the forms if she prefers. She agrees. Later, as Saras does laundry, she finds Mimori's clothes and washes them too, thinking how close they've grown. Mimori walks in, a little embarrassed. Saras apologizes and promises she's good at laundry. That night, Mimori is reading while Saras sleeps. He thinks, she's an amazing girl, hiding her emotions just to support me. I should thank her. Saras wakes up, offers him herbs to help him sleep. Mimori uses a cube to make soup. Saras adds her herbs, but accidentally makes 1 cup too strong. Mimori drinks it and finds himself unable to calm down. Saras apologizes again. She then asks, "Can you resist temptation?" Mimori says revenge is all that matters to him now. Everything else is like a curse. Saras responds, "Then I'll try my best to break that curse someday." The next morning, Saras returns with information. She reveals that Eve was once a slave, purchased from a slave market and has remained undefeated for 3 years. Surprisingly, Eve earned enough money for freedom 2 years ago, but she stayed because of a child she wants to free. There's also a disturbing rumor. Powerful blood fighters often die during their final match. Mimori fears there's something more sinister happening behind the scenes, and that the organizers may be targeting the fighters. He and Saras approached Eve again. He warned her that the Colosseum's Duke was planning to kill her during the next match. Mimori proposed that they kidnap the girl. Eve wanted to protect. Eve, furious, refused, saying if they touched Liz, she'd kill them. Saras gently said they only wanted to help. Mimori suggested hiding in the Forbidden Witch's home. At first, Eve found that ridiculous, but when Mimori paralyzed her in an instant, revealing the power he used to kill Civet Garland. Saras also showed her proof. She had witnessed the death of the Black Dragon Knights. They tried to convince Eve they could protect her and the girl. Eve admitted they were strong, but she couldn't run. She believed the Duke would keep his word and give her freedom if she won. Despite her distrust, Mimori told her they'd be at the main gate the next morning if she changed her mind. That night, the Ashino gang sealed a house, spreading rumors of a curse. They were harassing a girl, but Mimori used his magic to blind and confuse them, saving her without causing a scene. In the morning, Mimori and Siras waited. Mimori felt certain there was no future for Eve if she stayed. Elsewhere, Eve couldn't sleep and visited the Duke. Hidden, she overheard the Duke's evil plan. He would poison Eve before the match and skin her after death. Even the girl, Liz, she fought to protect would be sold. Rage filled Eve. She had been a fool to trust them. On her way back, she bumped into Mwaji, leader of a Shinto group. Eve then decided to join Mimori. She told him she was ready and insisted they take Liz with them. They found Liz at a restaurant where the owner was abusive. Liz was hit and mocked for not showing emotions. Just as she broke into tears, Eve arrived, threatened the owner, and took Liz away. Eve promised Liz they'd escape together. Mimori met them at the door of the restaurant and asked Eve and Liz to leave, while he warned the owner not to fake emotions in front of him. When the owner insulted him, Mimori paralyzed her and poisoned her. He declared they were both monsters bound for hell. Later, Liz introduced herself, and Mimori and Siras revealed their real names. Liz begged to stay with her sister, even if it meant facing death. Mimori agreed and introduced her to Pigimaru. As they rode into the forest, Eve asked why they wanted to meet the Forbidden Witch. Mimori said he had ancient writing only the witch might understand. Eve believed him, saying trust doesn't need time. Saras wondered if it was okay to bring a child into the demon zone. Mimori insisted he'd protect Liz at any cost. He also hoped her presence would help connect with the witch, as both Liz and the witch are dark elves. Just then, they realized they were being followed. Mimori asked how they were found so quickly. Eve admitted she'd spoken to Mauji before they left. As this threat was caused by Eve, she decided to fight alone, but Mimori stopped her, as he then made a plan to defeat the pursuer. According to that plan, Saras tied fire to decoy horses, distracting the enemy's first group. She confirmed plan's success. Mimori wondered if a Shinto was among the pursuers. Saras hadn't seen them, but Eve believes the first group might be Duke's soldiers, and the second could be a Shinto. Mimori told Eve to hide with Liz. She wanted to fight, but he reminded her that Liz needed protection. Mimori and Saras prepared to fight. Eve asked if they had a chance. Mimori replied, "If we can't win head-on, we'll take the battle somewhere we hold the advantage." Meanwhile, a Shinto's leader, Mauji, appears and realizes that this was all a trap, and that if they move forward, they'll be caught. He tells Mimoki and others that they now know their plans and ask them to surrender. Saras appears wearing her mask. Mauji asks if she is one of the Flying King's companions. He offers her a deal if she hands over Eve and Liz. He'll spare her and even let her join their group. Saras asks what happens if she refuses, and Mauji replies that they'll curse her. Saras isn't fazed. Mauji then explains that the curse is actually a special poison invented by their ancestors, and they've used fear and deception to spread the legend of the curse. Saras pretends to go along and says she'll cooperate if they promise to take care of Speed and Liz. But Maujiji sees through her plan and says she's just trying to lure them into the forest. That's when Saras admits she is indeed survivor of the Black Dragon Knights. Mauji warns her that his men have already surrounded her. Suddenly, Mimori activates his power with Pigimaru's help and paralyzes everyone on the spot. He reveals that he's already eliminated 15 of their men. The whole group falls into Mimori's trap, and he poisons and kills them all. Mimori then appoints Saras as the vice captain of their group. Next, another squad of Duke's soldiers arrives and tries to capture Eve, but Mimori paralyzes them too. At that moment, Duke himself shows up. He says he'll put Eve's severed head on display and plans to sell Liz. Enraged, Eve started to ruthlessly kill Duke's soldiers one by one. When some try to flee, Mimori orders her to chase them down and kill them all as well. Duke thought that he would be able to escape, but Mimori paralyzes him too, and Speed slices his throat. Afterward, Mimori explains that he'll use a skill to erase all evidence of their involvement. Then Mimori uses a special skill to freeze the bodies of the Ashinto members and explains that this ability turns corpses into objects that can be shattered, leaving no trace behind. Meanwhile, the king of Urza Kingdom is shocked to hear about the disappearance of the Ashinto group. One of his men says they only found the bodies of Duke and his private soldiers. The king regrets using them like puppets and worries about what to tell Goddess Physis. Liz becomes emotional, remembering the old restaurant owner, but Seras comforts her, asking her to only trust those truly worth believing in. Liz begins to see Seras as a big sister and falls asleep with speed. Seras stays on watch, and Mimori jokes about letting her rest in his lap. To his surprise, Seras actually agrees and lies down in his lap. Seras asks if he feels especially attached to Speed and Liz. Mimori explains that Speed reminds him of his kind uncle, while Liz reminds him of himself. He and Liz both grew up in similar environments, but the difference is that now, Mimori has the strength to destroy anything that tries to scare him. He tells Seras she can leave his revenge journey anytime. It's his personal mission. But Seras insists on staying, saying she doesn't like the goddess either and that her new role as vice captain is important to her. Mimori promises to grant any wish of hers in return, so long as it's within his power. He gently puts her to sleep using a sleep spell. Meanwhile, we see Nyantan and Sogu training together. Nyantan tells her she has great potential and might even surpass her someday, but reminds her that their training must remain a secret from the goddess. Sogu asks why Nyantan agreed to train her. Nyantan says Sogu reminds her of her little sister, and that in this world, you're either the predator or the prey. Back with Mimori's group, Liz receives new clothes and is super happy. Sarah suggests a name for their group, Lord of the Flies Brigade, the same name as the Flying King's old army. Everyone loves it, and Mimori agrees. The group finally reaches the Demon Zone. Mimori wonders what kind of tree they're seeing, and Eve explains it's a corrupted tree that once held great importance. She hands Mimori a map visible only to tribal chiefs or their children. The green dot shows their location, and the red one shows the Forbidden Witch's location. That night, Mimori reflects. No matter what he does, his anger toward the goddess won't go away. He once believed time would heal all wounds, but nothing has changed. He vows to show goddess Vicious the depths of hell. He then thinks that the Golden Demon Zone is the most dangerous place in the world, but it's where he'll grow stronger. He's not yet reached the level of S-class or A-class heroes, but he knows he will, and for that, he must level up. Then the goddess appears and says, "Your levels have truly increased, and I'm genuinely happy for that. But let me tell you one thing. Just because your level has gone up doesn't mean you've become strong in every way. It simply means that your basic abilities have improved. You all still lack proper combat techniques. That's why I've called in some special instructors to train you," she continues. We see a lot of movement from the demon side, especially in the absence of the Great Demon Emperor. This hints that a major battle is approaching very soon. And that's why the goddess says, everyone must now train harder than ever before. You'll be facing entire armies, and your participation in this war will be absolutely crucial. A little later, Vicious told Nyantan, these heroes need practical combat skills, and if they want to move forward, they need to keep leveling up as well. So, I'm thinking, we should head straight to the Golden Demon Zone. As the group moves forward, Seras tells Liz she doesn't have to carry so much luggage, but Liz insists, saying the more she carries, the safer Seras will be, and everyone agrees to let her help. As they travel deeper, they sense the presence of a demon and prepare to fight. Mimori identifies it as an ancient ruins lizard demon, but is puzzled by its strange head. The demon attacks, and Eve begins the fight, but Mimori paralyzes and poisons the creature. Mimori notes his powers are working effectively in the demon zone. Compared to the ancient ruins, this demon seems weaker. Mimori approaches it with a dagger. Seras checks in the book given by Mimori and identifies the demon and the strange object on its head, something potentially used to craft forbidden items. Mimori agrees and even allows Seras to keep the books, and she seems so interested. As they move forward, something in Mimori's bag starts glowing. While crossing a river, Liz insists on carrying her own bags again. Mimori respects her decision, but warns what could happen if she slips, and she does. But Piggy Maru saves her just in time. Eve notices how thoughtful Mimori is toward Liz, and he shares that he sees a bit of his past self in her. Liz overhears their conversation and asks about it, but Mimori dodges the topic. Eve shifts the subject and jokes about imagining a child between Mimori and Seras. This embarrasses Seras so much that she falls into the water. She's soaking and shivering, so Mimori gives her his coat, apologizing for not washing it. Seras says she doesn't mind, even liking the smell, something that surprises and amazes Mimori. They keep moving, and Eve senses another group of demons approaching. Mimori tells her to retreat as the demons seem too powerful. Mimori paralyzes them and uses his unique skill to finish them off, gaining a level in the process. Eve is impressed and says he handled it like someone with prior experience. Mimori then starts peeling the demon's skin. Eve wonders if he plans to eat it, but Seras clarifies it's for making a strengthening potion for Pigamaru. Pigamaru doesn't like the idea, but Mimori assures him it won't be as weird once it's in potion form. Suddenly, they feel another presence. Pigamaru points to Mimori's bag. When Mimori opens it, a horse hatches from an egg. The horse is oddly large for a newborn, and they wonder if it's a demon. Seras says she's never seen anything like it, but notes the organ on its back is used to absorb mana, something magical beasts possess. Mimori infuses it with magic, and the horse evolves into a more powerful form. Mimori says it took in 1,000 magic points, and then the horse asks for more. After absorbing 10,000 points, it evolves again. Liz suggests naming it, and Mimori chooses Slay, after Odin's mythical horse. The horse seems happy with the name and plays with Seras. Elsewhere, we see that all the heroes are also in the Golden Demon Zone, fighting demons to gain experience. Oyamata asks Kirihara why he looks upset. Kirihara says he doesn't like fighting only weak enemies and wants to prove his strength. That night, monsters approach the heroes. Their instructor thinks the heroes can't handle them, so they take over. But Kirihara jumps in and burns them all with his 4th level inherent skill, proving his power. Elsewhere, Hijiri and Itsuki suspect that spies, possibly sent by goddess Vysis, are hiding among them to sabotage their mission. But they have dealt with them. Back with Mimori's group, they notice smoke from a fire in the forest. Seras asks what's going on, and Mimori suspects a battle between demons in the northeast, near Alien, the goddess's domain. The next morning, Seras wakes to find Mimori gone. She asks Eve about it, who reassures her that Mimori would never abandon them. Outside, they find Mimori has already slain more demons, one of which was humanoid. Eve is surprised, but Mimori notes it wasn't as strong as expected. Seras is amazed and says Mimori is the light in this darkness, someone who can make the impossible possible. The group reaches a mountain but can't go further. Mimori finds a path along the mountain's edge. Seras asks him to rest, but Mimori says the wind is picking up. They should move before a storm hits. Eve notices the demon presence is weaker here. Mimori checks in on Liz, asking if she's afraid. Liz says she was at first, but not anymore. She shares a touching memory of Seras telling her they'll make it to their destination as long as Mimori is with them. Liz feels comforted and stronger when he's around. As they reach a ravine, Mimori finds a shortcut. Eve thanks him, but Mimori reminds her this was just part of their deal. Eve gets emotional, saying she once dreamed of a peaceful life with Liz, but that dream vanished. Until now, thanks to Mimori. Suddenly, a monster attacks Eve. She quickly kills it, but Mimori senses something strange. The demon lets out a loud cry, like a signal, and Mimori realizes more of them are coming. A lot more. Realizing the danger, Mimori thinks that maybe killing that humanoid demon caused this swarm to head their way. He estimates that they still have some time before they arrive, but the number of demons is overwhelming. Eve steps up and says, "Everyone, listen carefully. I'll act as a decoy and attract the demons. Meanwhile, you all go ahead and find the witch's location. Even if it costs me my life, I'll hold them off. I'm sorry, but this all happened because of my negligence, so I must take responsibility." Mimori responds, "All right, if that's what you want, I'll leave the demons to you, but on one condition, you must come back safe." "Do you really think I would say that?" He looks at her sternly. "Eve, if you go alone, you won't survive. And this isn't just your fault. This demon was smarter than we expected. You were right to eliminate him." Seras supports Mimori, saying, "If I were in your place, I'd have done the same." Mimori adds, "It's my fault too. I should have activated my skill earlier. So don't try to carry this burden alone. You're an essential part of our team. The witch gave you the map. If you're with us, we can communicate with her more easily. And right now, only I can handle these humanoid demons. Only my abnormal skills work on them. I'm the leader here, so the decision is mine. If I say don't worry, then don't worry. That's an order." Eve nods. "I'm sorry." Liz thanks Mimori, but he replies, "Save your thanks after we reach our destination safely." He then turns to Saris and says, "I'm leaving everyone to you. Carry out your vice commander duties properly." Meanwhile, on the hero's side, chaos breaks out. The demons attack the group, and the instructors order them to retreat. Uyamada and Kirihara start fighting the monsters, trying to protect the others. A demon chases a girl, but Kashima saves her, only for the girl to run away, leaving Kashima in danger. Kashima thinks everything's okay so far. No one's died yet. But then she remembers Mimori. Back to Mimori. He instructs Saris and the others to hide in a cave they found earlier. He transforms Slay using his magic and asks Pigimaru to send a signal to lure the demons toward him. The plan works. They start heading toward Mimori. He tells Slay to run ahead while he joins Pigimaru. Mimori knows these humanoid demons could surround him easily, but he can't give in to fear. He tells himself, "I can't let them see I'm scared." "Guys, are you ready for some action?" Slay and Pigimaru reply enthusiastically and start running at high speed. Meanwhile, Sogu sees some students have died and blames Yasu. She says, "Hiroka and Sakuma were in your group. How did they die? You're an A-rank hero. You should have protected them." But Yasu snaps back, "Shut your mouth. What's your problem? You still look down on me like I'm beneath you." She fires back, "I'm just saying it's your responsibility. Your group relied on you." Yasu sneers, "Who cares about them? They died because they were weak. Only the strong survive. That's all that matters. And don't forget, they were the ones who mocked and bullied Mimori. Honestly, it's better that they're dead." Kirihara intervenes and scolds Yasu. Yasu replies mockingly, "What are you trying to say? You think you're better than me?" Their argument escalates until Oyamada was ready to attack Yasu. But Kirihara stops him. He says, "Some people are weakening the title of S-rank. It's time I show everyone who the real vessel of the king is." Meanwhile, one girl tells Asagi that Kashima is still missing. This worries Sogu a lot. Back with Eve, she says, "I'm going after Mimori. There are so many demons, and even though he planned everything, his chances of winning are slim. He hasn't slept properly since we entered the demon zone. He's been using sleep skills on us to make sure we could rest." Saris agrees. "Yes, he's barely rested at all." Eve says, "I specialize in hiding my presence. I can see at night, and my hearing is sharp. That's why I wanted to be the one to fight the demons first. But now that Mimori's gone, at least I should go watch over him. If he or Slay get injured, I'm the only one who can bring them back." Saris says, "It's comforting to hear you say this out of feelings, not with duty. After Mimori left, I thought I should protect you all, but now I find myself relying on you." Eve teases her, "You really like him, don't you?" Saris blushes, "Yes." Liz asks Eve to please protect Lord Mimori. Saris tells Eve, "Promise me you'll come back safe." Eve nods, promises, and heads out. Meanwhile, Mimori uses a burst skill on the monsters with Pigimaru's help, confusing them enough to buy some time. But he knows they'll regroup soon, so he paralyzes them and focuses on the humanoid demons, his biggest threats. As rain begins to pour, it becomes hard to see or hear anything clearly. Mimori notices that maintaining connection with Pigimaru is draining his magic fast. If this continues, he won't last more than 10 minutes. He thinks, "I need to level up. Humanoid demons give the most XP. But that means I need to stay close to them." He tells Slay to turn back and starts using dark sleep and paralysis on the way. Eventually, he got behind the humanoid monster and paralyzed him, and uses Berserk's skill to defeat it, earning a level up. Now that his magic has replenished, he continues fighting to gain more XP. He lures more monsters, waits until they're in range, and finishes them off, leveling up again. But suddenly, Mimori and Slay fall due to the overwhelming number of enemies. Surrounded, Mimori unleashes his full power, killing all of them and gaining several levels. Elsewhere, Kishima defeats a monster and reflects, "I know I'm not like Sogu. I was just hiding when Mimori got exiled, but I still want to help people like him. I'm scared to die." Then Eve arrives and spots someone who resembles Liz. It's Kishima. She tries to help, but Kishima gets scared. Suddenly, Itsuki appears and attacks Eve, injuring her throat and taking her voice. Eve realizes in horror, these are the same people the goddess summoned to fight evil. They're heroes, just like Mimori. Itsuki attacks again. Meanwhile, Liz was worried about Eve and Mimori, but Saras reassured her, saying Mimori himself had declared that he could survive even in this situation, so they would surely return. Itsuki continued attacking Eve, and Eve thought to herself how Itsuki was rapidly improving in combat mid-battle. Just as Itsuki almost managed to land a solid hit, Hijiri arrived and stopped her. Itsuki asked why she intervened, and Hijiri clarified, Eve is not a demon. She's a leopard-type creature. Itsuki argued, what difference does it make? Isn't she still a demon? Hijiri replied, she has intelligence, something true demons lack. You can see it in her eyes, that human-like determination. She might even be able to speak. Itsuki said, but she hasn't spoken a word. Hijiri responded, that's probably because you struck her throat first. Hijiri apologized to Eve on behalf of her sister, and even Itsuki joined in. Eve, watching them, realized how calm and reasonable they were, just like Mimori. She then asked for their names. Hijiri, having heard stories about a blood fighter in the Golden Demon Zone, realized that Eve was the one and asked about her companions. Eve replied, I'm looking for my master. Hijiri deduced, if he's alive, that means he's strong enough to defeat even humanoid demons. Eve replied with pride, you're right, but no one can truly measure his power. And with that, she left. Meanwhile, Mimori continued battling the monsters. A giant one approached, but he quickly took it down. He noticed Pigimaru was badly hurt and advised him to rest. Mimori had now reached rank 2017, but he was still wounded and low on stamina. That's when he sensed a humanoid demon stalking him. Mimori thought, I can only use my skill when I can see my target. And this enemy knows that. I need to draw it out. He instructed Slay to flee and bait the demon into revealing itself. The enemy attacked from a distance, injuring Mimori and knocking down Slay. As the demon approached, Mimori asked Pigimaru for a favor. Suddenly, a huge dust cloud rose as the demon launched another attack. Mimori threw his face mask as a decoy. Pigimaru and Slay distracted the demon while Mimori soared into the air and paralyzed it, activating his upgraded skill. He explained, you fell for it. I threw that mask so you'd think it was my head and strike it. Then Pigimaru would distract you and I'd fly up to spot you, so I could finally activate my skill. You thought you could ambush me, but you forgot. If I can't see you, you can't see me either. Mimori leveled up to rank 2019, unlocking an even higher level skill. Just as another monster attacked, Eve appeared and saved them. She carried Mimori and the others back toward the cave and informed him she had met his 3 classmates, Hijiri, Itsuki, and Kashima. Mimori panicked. You didn't mention my name, did you? Eve assured him. No, I didn't know your relationship with them. Mimori was relieved. Good, let them believe I'm dead, because my revenge against the goddess might be hindered by my classmates. Back at the cave, Liz and Saras were overjoyed to see them return safely. Saras treated everyone's wounds, and Eve volunteered to take the night watch. Mimori told her to rest, but she insisted. Later, Saras sewed Mimori's torn clothes. He noticed she looked excited and asked if she couldn't sleep. Saras replied, I'm just too happy, but you don't have to do everything alone. She continued, when the demons attacked, you acted like you were the only one who could protect everyone. That scared me. I'm afraid that one day, you might break under all this pressure. Mimori responded, if you truly care, then promise me you'll stay by my side. So that never happens. Saras nodded. I promise. But you have to promise you'll talk to me when something's bothering you. I want to help you no matter what. He asked her age, and Saras revealed she was 2 years older. He joked, so you'll treat me like your younger brother now? Saras smiled. No, you're our squad's king. You'll always be my king. No one can replace you. Mimori fell asleep. Saras thought to herself how mature he was for his age, and how she never expected to feel attracted to someone this way. She gently laid him down, but then accidentally fell on him and kissed him impulsively. Embarrassed, she didn't know why she did it. Mimori woke up and realized what had happened. To ease the tension, he used a sleep skill on Saras to gently put her to rest. Elsewhere, Kashima thanked Hijiri and Itsuki for saving her. Itsuki asked, why are you in Asagi's group? Shouldn't you be with Sogu? Kashima replied, I couldn't take my first kill. Asagi helped me, that's why I stayed with her. Itsuki said, I think Asagi's a bit unhinged. Kashima told them that she believes that Asagi will save Sogu one day too. The next day, Mimori and the group resumed their journey. Saris wanted to confess something but didn't have the courage yet. She thought to herself, if I don't tell him soon, he might stop trusting me, but it's scarier than fighting an enemy. Mimori understood what Saras wanted to say, but decided to give her time to speak at her own pace. They reached the territory of the Forbidden Witch. There they saw magic seals, some of which were broken. Suddenly, a golem activated and attacked. Mimori paralyzed it, but said, let's not destroy it. I don't want to provoke the witch. They found a house with working golems inside. To open a door, Mimori channeled his magic, and it opened to reveal another world beyond. Meanwhile, Kashima, Hijiri, and Itsuki returned to the hero's base. Asagi hugged Kashima and asked why she vanished. Kashima explained that the Taku sisters had saved her. Sogu was relieved. Hijiri remarked, going after Kashima was the right move. Those spies in the forest were definitely sent to wipe out our class. Itsuki asked, what do you mean? Hijiri replied, if Kashima had died, the one most affected would be Sogu. And if she breaks, everything could fall apart. Back at the mysterious house, Mimori and the others were amazed by the alternate world beyond the door. That's when the Forbidden Witch finally appeared and introduced herself. My name is Erika Anoravayel, the very witch you've been searching for. Mimori thought, so it really is her. If the rumors are true, she's the one who can teach me the Book of Forbidden Spells. Meanwhile, the goddess ordered her subordinates, recall all the heroes immediately. The great demon emperor's army is on the move. Let's see who returns, and who comes back stronger. Meanwhile, Mimori has finally reached his final step before the revenge and whispers, just wait, goddess. I will destroy everything you hold dear. So guys, here this anime ends. For now, if you enjoyed this anime, don't forget to like, comment, and share.